early signing day press conference with Traverse Family head football coach Justin Wilcox to talk about Cal's 2025 recruiting class. We will get questions started with Jim McGill from Bear Insider. Go ahead, Jeff. Or Jim.
Hey, Justin, looks like you have 12 signees in so far. Can you talk a little bit about the one new one today, Odera Okaka out of CSM?
Yeah, Odera is a very talented rusher. We've been recruiting him intensely for a long time. He played for some guys that we know well over there, and so we had a real good feel of who he was as a person and as a player. He's a twitchy guy and a dynamic edge guy. So we're looking forward to him getting in here as soon as possible and joining us and getting to work.
All right,
Are there any
go ahead,
particularly interesting stories about any of the guys who are officially in right now that you can share with us?
Any interesting stories?
The process goes.
I would say that everybody's going to have some interesting facts about them. Let's see here. We got guys from kind of all over the map here. Jake Houseworth, who comes from way up north in Northern California. His high school is really small. He's played every position I think that they have and been just a really talented athlete. That's been a unique one. I don't know, the last time his high school had a Division I football player, so that's kind of interesting. We've got a bunch of, Meyer, whose brother's on our team, coming out from Minnesota. John Topey Jr., who's a really talented basketball player who's young to the game of football. It's going to be a really fun one to watch grow. Jayon Young, who's played against some of the best competition in California and played at a very, very high level. So I could kind of go down the list, but a lot of really interesting people and coming from all over and big schools and little schools and everything in between.
Thanks. All right, Joe Ferrado, Cal Bears on SI.
Yeah, Justin, probably not your favorite piece of news of the morning. We can just talk about you were so close to landing your quarterback target, and then he flipped this morning to Oregon. Do you have any sense of kind of what happened there, and just what's it like to absorb that today?
Recruiting is very, very competitive, and there's a lot of good players out there. And as you can appreciate, we're always focused on the ones that are going to be a part of our program. And it's a dynamic environment in recruiting, and things change day to day and week to week. And we're really excited about the guys that are joining us.
Do you anticipate then going after a quarterback in the portal?
We'll see where everything lands. I mean, the way that college football works now with high school signing day where it is, and then the transfer portal opening in a few days, what our roster looks like moving forward is a bit unknown. Who enters the transfer portal is a bit unknown. So it's hard for me to really give you any certainty on any of these things right now. We feel really good about our team and who's coming back. Obviously, we got guys coming back at the quarterback position, starting with Fernando. So I feel great about that. But there's just a lot that happens in college football and in December and January.
All right, we'll go to Matt Moreno from Rivals.
Coach, you talked about John Topey, and I watched him earlier in the season. His athleticism really stands out, I think, and obviously he has great size as well. What kind of intrigued you about him, knowing that he hasn't been playing the game as much as other guys?
Well, I think just that. He's got a big frame. He's athletic. The basketball background you see on the football field with the agility. He's certainly, sometimes when guys start playing football, they're not as physical as you'd hope, but he is a very courageous guy, and he shows toughness. And I got a chance to go watch him play a home game, and he's playing free safety, and at that point, he's the biggest free safety in the state of California. He was, 6'4" and 210. He is going to be a big guy. And when if you ever see his dad, you'll understand what I mean. His dad was a great basketball player and a very big person. And so we just we're very excited about John and his future. And then it's going to come, just work and getting into college football and the weight room and all that comes with it.
All right, Steve Croner from the SF Chronicle.
In addition to the news you had yesterday about the staff change, obviously, if you can tell us anything more about that, appreciate it. If you can at least give us a timetable by when you would like to have that set.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to say. We have really good football coaches on our offensive staff. We're looking to supplement what we're doing on offense. There are some very difficult circumstances on that side of the ball this year with some moving parts at O-line, for example, some injuries to key players. I think we got some I know we do. We got some really, really good football coaches, and we don't have any roles identified yet on how those adjustments are going to be made. There are going to be some adjustments. How many, I can't tell you right now, but this is the same group a year ago that had the conference's leading rusher. And so I got a lot of belief in a number of those guys on offense. I just think there's an opportunity for us to grow. And as I mentioned, nobody's been let go. We're just going to make a few adjustments. And with the way that the college football is changing and the rules have changed on who can coach and who can't, and countable recruiters and who's not countable, there's just a lot more flexibility than there used to be. So like I said, we have some dang good coaches. There were some very difficult circumstances that they were in this year at times. And it's also an opportunity for us to grow and get better with the new rules and coaching and who's available to coach and not coach. So I don't have a timetable there. And when I do know more, we'll make an announcement. But those guys are good coaches, really good people. And I envision, those guys, a lot of those guys being with us. I just don't know how it's all going to shake out right now. So that's what I would say.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yep.
Doug Harris, Football Organically.
Hey, Coach. How has going to a bowl game helped in the decision-making process with these young recruits? And second question, will the folks that you just signed from a defensive lens, will they be coming in to start, or will they be coming in to just back up and be able to have some depth at these positions?
Yeah, bowl games are always great. It's essentially an extra spring ball. You get more practice. You'll get to develop your team. There's going to be a lot of dynamics involved with, if guys, there's a couple guys that have already entered the transfer portal, and we support those guys and what's best for them. So we'll kind of see how that all shakes out. We're going to have to, coordinate it with our final schedule and recruiting and visits and all that. So there's some logistics involved, but it's great to be in a bowl game. We'll be very excited. And like I said, it's a chance for some extra development. The signees we're bringing in to compete, and the best players are going to play. We don't sign anybody and assume they're going to be one thing or another. I think I've been doing this long enough now where you sign somebody and you think they're going to redshirt and you're going to develop them, and then they get here and, Cade Uluave a year ago. I mean, we were all hopeful Cade was going to be a great player, but when we signed him, he comes in and after 6 games, he goes in and does what he does. And I don't know if anybody would have anticipated that. And other guys, it takes a little bit longer. Maybe you think they're going to come in and play right away. And for some reason, the speed of the game, learning the game, going to college, they're young people and things change. So maybe it doesn't click right away. So it's kind of any and all. But what we do is we're trying to make the team better and bring in competition and let the competition sort out the depth chart.
All right, Thomas Dunn, right for California.
Good morning, Justin. Obviously, with those offensive changes that you mentioned and Steve mentioned, still have another game to play. Who is calling the plays for the bowl game? And if you don't know yet, what's the timeline for identifying that?
Yeah, again, there's a lot to be determined on how this is going to end up. Again, nobody's been fired, nobody's been let go. We have good coaches on our staff. We're looking to supplement and grow on offense and everywhere on defense. But I would say, right now, I couldn't tell you exactly how this is all going to shake out in the coming days and weeks.
For sure. Thank you.
All right, back to Jeff Ferrato.
Justin, could you explain to us the difference between the traditional letter of intent and the contract that players now sign with you? Is that involved what their NIL money will be, and how does it work exactly? What's the dynamic there?
Yeah, it's a financial aid agreement with the university. I'm not going to necessarily get into the NIL contractual language and those things. I just don't think that's appropriate for me to talk about right now. It's a part of our world, and it's new for everybody. But really, they signed a financial aid agreement, and those guys that are signed, we're excited to get them here.
And secondly, you wrapped up the game the other night, I think -3 injured offensive linemen. A couple of them couldn't play at all, and then Swinney was injured during the game. Do you expect to have Morrow, Vadakani, or Swinney back for your bowl game?
Nick will not be available. Siawape, we will see. And Bastian, it would be probable that he would play.
Is there anything more you can tell us about Nick's injury?
He won't be available for the bowl game.
Right. Thanks.
All right, back to Matt Moreno.
I just wanted to ask about a couple guys. Anthony Leak is somebody who put up some big numbers and seems to be a real physical back. Is there anybody that he reminds you of in terms of just his running style or his approach to the game?
He's a really, when you get to know him and you talk to people that coach him and have played against him, the thing that everybody talks about is his toughness and work ethic. He's, I think the phrase is, a lot of guys use he's a dog, meaning like he's tough. And that's what, you meet him. He's a great kid. Really enjoyed getting to know him and his family. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to compare players. Sometimes there's an obvious comparison when you start watching guys, but he's a very productive guy. Played multiple position. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's very physical. So, yeah, we're excited about him.
And then Beckham Barney was somebody who maybe went under the radar for a lot of people, I think, playing out in Arizona. But if you look at his numbers as well, a ton of tackles, a ton of stats. What did you guys like about him? What intrigued you guys about, his possibilities?
Athleticism, overall athleticism, played both ways, can carry the ball. He's got speed. And in this era, with the space tackling that you're put into, the offenses who will spread you out, to play that position, you got to have some speed, and we felt like he provides that. Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, the overall athleticism, the production. Linebacker and running back, the first thing you want to see is, really you want to see it everywhere, but man, do they produce? Do they make tackles? Are they around the ball? Does the ball find them? At running back, it's kind of the same thing. Like, do they find the hole? Do they get yards? And he did both of those things.
And in terms of, obviously, you can sign more guys in February. In terms of high school guys, do you have plans to kind of add some more? What's kind of the thought process as you guys now have this portion out of the way?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few more guys, whether it's here in the next couple of days or in February. That would be likely.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, looks like that'll wrap us up here. We'll send out information later in the week regarding a bowl game press conference. Thank you, everyone.